everybody, it's Talia from the Climbing Tree. Today I want to talk to you about how we're going halfway through Plastic Free July, give you a bit of an update. I think by the time I post this video it will be a little bit after the halfway mark, but you know, for me at time of filming, I double check, yes it is the 15th today. So we are halfway through Plastic Free July. We've had a really great experience so far. I thought that I would share some of the easiest things for us, the harder things, and the kind of neutral things. So let's start with what some of the easiest things have been for us. So I found that saying no to the kids and their reaction to me saying no, we can't have this, it's Plastic Free July, has been really easy. They haven't kicked up a big stink about it. I think because we did all that prep beforehand, we talked about it quite a lot, we talked about the reasons why we were doing it, they're really on board. And so being able to say to them, oh, we can't have that because it's Plastic Free July, means that they are just reacting really well to that and being like, oh, okay, you know, that's fine. What could we have instead? Sometimes they ask, you know, which is I think that that's a really great thing for them to ask, because they're thinking, well, I have to think of it, but, you know, they're involved in the process of thinking about what's an alternative to having this. Of course it is easy because we've committed to this for a month and not necessarily for the rest of our lives. So I suppose in their head there is that idea that once it's not July, we can have that thing. And so we will be having those conversations in the next, well, probably not till the last week of July, to be honest, about how have we gone and what did we enjoy about it, and do you think this is something that we could continue doing, and sort of maybe revise where we're at and where we want to go moving forward. But anyway, that's been really easy, their reactions. Also finding alternatives to things and just saying no to some foods has been really quite easy, easier than what I expected. So we've just not had any dairy, so we've not had the cow's milk like with our cereal, and that's just been fine. Like we've just not having it. And you know, obviously making oat milk and almond milk and things like this are not hard. I was used to making them in smaller quantities already, and so finding alternatives like that hasn't really been that difficult either. So that's been a really positive experience. And also the last thing I'd say in this easy category is that we have been feeling really satisfied, and I wouldn't say that any of us have at any point felt like deprived in any way, that, oh, because we aren't having plastic for the month that we're missing out on like stuff or things that we really want that we really can't have. I don't think there's been anything like that. We've just all felt really satisfied and really content with the things that we're eating and the things that we're bringing into our home and all that kind of stuff. So that's been really good. If we talk about some of the harder things, so the truth is I really miss dairy. I miss it, not like so much for myself, though sometimes I do just wish it would just make a dish, elevate it from being a relatively plain dish to just something a bit nicer if I could just put some cheese on the top. But I do miss it from like a feeding my children point of view. You know, dairy has the advantage of being like a protein source and a good fat for children, and all of this kind of stuff, and I miss like not being able to just have this as something healthy that they can eat, and I have to think of alternatives, and that's not always the easiest thing. So that's been a bit hard. The other thing has been I've had some pregnancy cravings for things that can only be found and bought in plastic. Mostly I've had this craving for like crunchy food and I really specifically want spring rolls. And so that is a problem because the spring that I found, there were like 2 kosher brands of spring roll wrappers. I don't think there are any kosher like pre-made spring rolls, but anyway, there were 2 kosher brands of spring roll wrappers, but they come in plastic. So even like it would be worth it to me to like go to the effort to make the spring rolls at home and cook them for that crunch and yummy flavor that I'm after, but it's probably not worth the effort of having to make spring roll wrappers as well. So I've just had to go without that, and that has been a little bit hard. Also, it is difficult sometimes being prepared all the time. So like lunch boxes today, because we went away on the weekend, lunch boxes today were, they looked fine, but they were a bit higgledy-piggledy. I didn't have like things that I was like, oh yes, I have this prepared for lunch boxes and that kind of stuff. So, you know, that's a difficulty as well, being prepared all the time, having bread made, having snacks made so the kids can have a snack, being prepared to have like crackers made, which we're 2 weeks through and I've still not found time to make crackers. So that, you know, they're things that have been difficult. Saying no to impulse purchases has sometimes been hard. I did found Diet Coke in a glass bottle the other day, which I was like, hallelujah. Oh, it wasn't Diet Coke, it was Coke Zero. And I know whatever, it's terrible for you, blah blah blah, probably get cancer and die, but I needed it, and I haven't had it for 2 weeks, which has been impressive, really, So I feel like, oh, I'm glad to have found something, but sometimes the desire to just get things as you're going through the checkout, or just oh, we're just going through the shop and I could just quickly grab a pack of the chips, that would be a thing that just everyone would just be happy if I could just, because it's been school holidays as well, I could just buy this pack of the chips and then everyone could just have a snack and it would just get them to last a little bit longer before we got home to have lunch. But they don't do that, so they whinge a bit more and they're a little bit more hungry and tired and all of that kind of stuff, and we just have to deal with that. So that is kind of hard. And also the hardest thing has been managing when we're with other people. So when you are with other people and someone else is I think I mentioned this in my Instagram stories on the first or second day or something, that we'd gone to the strawberry fields, which was great. We can pick your own strawberries, etc., etc. The strawberries were a bit dodged because it had been raining, and it was school holidays, so everybody was picking strawberries. But we went through that process. It would have been fine, except that then other people got ice blocks, and I just, because it was the beginning too, and I just we all got ice blocks, even though they had the plastic wrapper on them. And so things like that, just in general, it is difficult when we're with other people, and then if their kids get things and then our kids can't. That's just something you need to work through. I'm not saying it's the end of the world or it's a deal breaker or anything. I'm just saying that is hard. A few neutral things, really only 2 neutral things. One was that groceries, while it's different to do the majority of the shopping at the bulk store, also I'm having to get a lot more ingredient type things and less pre-made things, and buying less meat and no dairy and things like this. I'm really only going to the grocery store to get my 1 piece of meat that I have for Shabbat, and then to get maybe a tin of something, or I can't even think what I would have got. That's the difference, is that we're really not buying much at the grocery store at all, and some weeks I don't have to go. So that's been like pretty neutral. Like it's different, but it's no harder to be going to the bulk store for the most things. So that's been good. And the food that we're eating is only slightly different, but it is different because you know, we're not having meat during the week and we're not having dairy with anything. So that is a bit different, but really I wouldn't say that's been harder, and I wouldn't say it's been like super easy. It's just like, it's just one of those things. It's doesn't make a big difference. So they're my neutral things. And so this has been a bit rambly, sorry about that, but that is my like halfway point update on Plastic Free July and how it's going for us. Would love to hear how it's going for you if you're also doing a Plastic Free July. What are some hard things or easy things or just neutral things for you, for your family in your area? I'd be super interested to know how other people are going with this, or not even if you're doing the whole Plastic Free July, just in whatever your goal has been for Plastic Free July. Would be super interested to know how you're going with it at the halfway point. And if you've only just hearing about Plastic Free July, or you weren't organised at the beginning of the month, don't worry about it. Just start now. Just choose what plastic you're going to reduce and do it for the next couple of weeks. So thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, etc., etc. if you're so inclined. If you're not, don't want to, no offense taken. And I shall see you with a new video soon.